So officially, good evening and welcome to our first Education Committee meeting of the School Board of Directors for 2024. We have a meeting that will discuss our Lakeside, our EBS, and Stepping Stone partnerships, and we're looking forward to hearing all of the details and your feedback. Ms. Brown, it is turned over to you.
Good evening and thank you. First, we'll begin with our Lakeside presentation, and our partner for the evening is Janine Whaley from Lakeside. Danielle Siebert would lead us in this conversation.
Thank you very much, Ms. Brown, and good evening, everyone. I would like to acknowledge Ms. Janine Whaley, who is our coordinator and my partner in crime with Lakeside. She provides leadership to the 3 coordinators who are currently supporting our William Penn Scholars at the secondary level, at the middle school, 9th grade academy, and at the high school. We are also joined by 2 of our illustrious counselors, Ms. Seda Gok, who is one of the counselors at the middle school. Oh, we're not sharing anymore?
Well, I thought I would make sure that the audience could see who you were.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. So we have Miss Seda Gok, who is over there. Wave, Seda. She is one of our counselors at the middle school, and I asked her to be on because she can. One of the reasons why we partner with Lakeside is because our past experience has been that they partner very well with our counselors, particularly at the secondary level. They work as partners and hand in hand. And so, it's just best to have both of 2 worlds and 2 voices to share how they collaborate together. And with that, I'm also happy to say hello, Mr. Garby, who is our lead counselor with our secondary students at the high school level. And again, I'm so glad that he's here to speak to the things that are happening over at the 9th grade academy and at GAC with our partnerships, our partners at Lakeside. So with that, I will be turning it over to Ms. Whaley to go ahead and brag about all the wonderful things y'all doing over there.
Thank you so much, Ms. Seward. You are so kind. It has definitely been our pleasure to partner with the William Penn School District for the last, I believe we are now going into year 3. And it has truly been a pleasure for us, and we look forward to continuing. So as Ms. Seward indicated, our student support counselors support William Penn School District students at the secondary level in Penwood Middle School, the 9th grade academy, and Penwood High School. Each counselor works collaboratively with the school counselors, social workers, and EBS staff to support students by providing group and individual counseling, peer mediation, and conflict resolution as needed, using a trauma-informed methodology. Specifically, what that means and what differentiates our work is we work in partnership with students and staff to help students understand the impact of stress and trauma on the brain. So we don't just work with whatever the presenting issue is, but we also work in partnership with students to help educate them about what's going on neurobiologically or physiologically when they're experiencing some form of stressor. Next slide, please. So from the time period beginning September 6th through January 3rd at Penwood Middle School, we've had the pleasure of providing 100 individual sessions to students. We have provided group counseling, intervention and support to 17 students spread across 2 groups. The group counseling sessions focus on anxiety, managing emotions. We've provided regulation, intervention, and support to 70 students. And so Quite often what will happen across each of the secondary schools, if students are presenting some challenge in managing their emotions or are dysregulated, staff will reach out to our team, and we will work with the student to provide them with strategies, again, to manage their anger, to manage their emotions, to effectively process and identify what they're feeling, and being able to articulate it in a way that is healthy and effective so that they can be successful in their school experience. From September 6th through January 3rd, the specialist at the middle school has provided a total of 20 consults or teacher check-ins, 10 mediations, and he currently has 22 active students on his caseload, but he's provided counseling and intervention support to a total of 30 students, again, from the time period beginning September 6th through January 3rd. A point of pride that he wanted to highlight, he was unable to be with us this evening, but a point of pride that he wanted to highlight was the anxiety groups that he co-facilitates in conjunction with the middle school counselor and a problem-solving group. Next slide, please. Thank you. At the 9th grade academy, again, our student support counselor provides brain-based trauma-informed counseling and regulation support to students in the 9th grade academy from the time period beginning September 6th through January 3rd. She has provided 150 individual counseling sessions to 9th grade academy students. She has facilitated 17, worked with 17. Oh, I'm sorry, that is actually an error. She has not. No, she has. She's worked, I'm sorry, with 17 students across 3 groups. She's provided regulation, intervention, and support to 116 9th grade academy students. She's participated in 25 parent conferences. She's facilitated 38 mediations between students, and she has serviced a total of 40 9th grade academy students from the beginning of the school year through January 3rd, with 25 students currently active on her caseload. A point of pride that she wished to highlight was the development of the girls group, co-facilitated in collaboration with the guidance counselor and the Stepping Stones counselor. So that was a point of pride that she wished to highlight for the first half of the school year. Next slide, please. And at the high school, the student support counselor has provided 127 individual counseling sessions to Penwood High School students from the time period beginning September 6th through January 3rd. He currently has a caseload of 39 students. He's provided 28 consultations to teachers and staff there, and he's conducted 2 classroom observations. A point of pride that he wished to highlight was that he collaborates with the staff to offer brain-based strategies. He's also provided building level support and regulation support to students during the SAT testing. Thank you, Ms.
Thank you so much, Ms. Whaley, for sharing the great work that's happening. I wanted to invite our counselors to add any context or any additional information they may want to share about the work that is happening at their schools.
Hi, it's Nikki.
Oh,
I'm
hey.
at Penwood 9th Grade Academy. Just one thing that I really enjoyed the work at Penwood 9th Grade Academy, and this is my 3rd school year, and I feel like when you walk into the building, you can feel the difference. When you talk to the kids and you talk to the parents, you can hear the difference as they explain it, you know, like students feeling like, I feel safe in this building. Parents saying, okay, I see y'all really being involved. It's less fights outside. I remember when it was a whole bunch of fights, and there was not a whole bunch of fights outside. So just those things, I think, really mean a lot to me, help me keep going. And I'm trying to figure out more ways to have more formal coaching sessions and consultations with the teaching staff They do send a lot of kids to me. They will stop by or catch me in the hallway and say something, but we'll be trying to figure out how to do more formal coaching, consultation with them. And yeah, so that's pretty much all I had to add. Trying to support my teachers a little bit more this year.
Thank you for sharing that. I saw Mr. Garvey.
I'm just gonna say that it's nice having Ralph in our building, where if I'm jammed up doing something, with this, especially being senior counselor, I'm able to say, hey, Ralph, can you, talk with this person, or here's a presenting problem. You have any, are you able to pick another student up on your caseload? And he's fairly willing to do that. So it's nice being able to work hand in hand with Ralph and myself, at least. I can't speak for the other counselors, but I'm just saying, I'm sure they are too, but I don't want to put words in their mouth, but it's really good to have that partnership going. And hopefully it will extend to next year.
And I saw Ms. Gok, you wanted to say something.
Yes, so we have Mr. Farrell at our building, and he's been with us for about a couple of years now. And he's always willing to just kind of jump in and help support, even if it isn't a student that is on his caseload. Like, there have been times where there may be a crisis happening or a situation, and myself and my co-counselor are busy with students, and we can always shoot him a text or give him a call and say, hey, can you kind of help assist? And he's always willing to be a team player. And then I will definitely speak on the groups too. We have students that are really eager to attend his groups. They look forward to seeing him. And then he also does a check-in, check-out system with students. So as they're coming in the morning, he'll always greet them, make sure, have a good day. And then at the end of the day, he checks out with them too before they leave the building. And I mean, I've seen him take students to the gym to take a break. So we're very grateful because sometimes we don't get to all of the students. And so he's always willing to be a team player.
Thank you, Ms. Gok. And lastly, I would like to highlight a systematic change, if you will, that I would like to highlight. So last year, when our 8th graders were at the middle school with Ms. Gok, in consultation with her and I, she highlighted that she really saw a higher need in some of the young ladies. Conflict resolution, de-escalation with the young ladies unable to let go of arguments, and it was festering and keep going. So she partnered with the Lakeside person, and I partnered with the Lakeside PD side of the house. And they created a special girls group and a professional development that's one of our webinars that's an asynchronous tool for anybody in the district because of what she observed. And then if you heard Miss Whaley, that is carried through in the 9th grade. So now we're still supporting our young ladies because that change doesn't happen overnight. And so if you heard Miss Whaley, that has carried into the 9th grade with that additional support. We're continuing to grow those good relationships and healthy ways of responding to conflict. So I just wanted to highlight that because I saw it from that higher level because of what Ms. Gok saw and reported, and we partnered and supported, and now it's carrying on a whole nother year. So thank you so much for all of the good work you've been doing. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you for sharing. And I do. At GAC, on that caseload of 39, are all 39 active?
Excuse me, this is Ralph Darnack. I would say about out the 39 kids, it's actually 40. I got one new one today. I would say about 25 are active.
Thank
A lot
you.
of check-ins, a lot of checkouts, but about 25 are they're steady on that.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
I do.
Yes.
I just want to confirm all students have access to these programs, correct? Okay, I just wanted that to be confirmed. And then on the middle school slide, it had teacher contact check-in. is that for the teacher or is that for the student?
It's a consult or a check-in with the teacher regarding student issues.
Okay. All right. Would you all say that there is a need to have an additional counselor in each school?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm
And
sorry, I don't know, you might have been speaking to your
Yes,
staff,
sir.
I'm sorry.
No, that's totally fine. And I'm asking for a specific reason because we're getting ready to enter our budget season. So I just wanted to know what you thought.
I would agree with that.
Okay, thank you.
Please, please.
So I just want to say thank you, everybody, for what you're doing, and thank you for highlighting the positives and the different programs that you have put in place to keep us going, and also recognizing things that needed definitely more help. Like, for instance, what Ms. Seward just mentioned about our young ladies. So my question to you is that what areas are we missing? What areas are there definitely is like, you know what, we really need this, or we could do better in this area? Because it's good to try to, even though we may not be able to fix it right now, but what areas are we lacking in where we could say, you know what, if we had this would improve. And also the number saying that, I'm glad Dr. Miko's asked that question, is this for everybody? Because I know we're only working with 40 right now, smaller population, but what areas of improvement, where are we falling short?
I would just like to reiterate that I think if we get another counselor from Lakeside to support us, that would be, I think that's where we're falling short. I think we can improve. We have a lot. I have 368 kids on my caseload. Each counselor probably has relatively the same at GAC. And that would open up the gamut for not just Ralph to be, inundated with kids, but somebody else to support Ralph, to support us, and then to just simply grow that organically as we see a need for that within our students. I think everything, not everything, but I would say probably like majority of things that I'm able to get from Ralph, like, hey, by the kid comes to me and says X, Y, and Z. I'm homeless, or I had a fight with my mom, or I'm living with my brother, Philadelphia. I'm sorry, that's my dog. That's my puppy. If you can hear that, I apologize. It allows me to say, okay, we can have a brief discussion, and then say, would you like to talk to somebody else? And the majority of the time, they'll say yes. Ralph, you got time? You got somebody in here? Blah blah blah. Yeah, sure, send them in. Or no, I'm busy, but. Then if Ralph's busy, we could just bump off that and go to somebody else.
Okay, thank you for that. So definitely a counselor in need. We need another counselor down there. I also, just my last question. So within the past couple of months, school board directors, we get emails. I would say especially from the middle school with regard to incident reports, with regard to children, and this may not be the place, but or the group that we need to talk to, but I feel like it's a behavior type of issue. We've been getting emails of students that might have tried gummies, CBD gummies or THC gummies, or may have tried smoking or something of that nature. My question is that from your perspective, with regard to, that could be a behavioral issue or something of that nature. What can we do as a district to be able to help this situation because we're seeing it at the 7th and 8th grade level, not saying that we're not seeing it at the high school level, but what will be your advice to be able to help this type of situation?
Well, it's Ms. Boykins, thank you for that. I was actually talking with someone somebody else on my team who works at another middle school, in another district. And we were talking today about that same thing. They're also seeing an increase in the number of middle school students who are using CBD gummies. And she was telling me a story of a young man that she met with yesterday. And when she spoke with him about the rationale behind the gummies, he told her, I'm just bored. I think one of the things that we can do, education, obviously, but I think helping students manage stress better, helping them, one, educating them about what is in some of these gummies and what is in some of these products that they're vaping. Today, before I met with her, she had an incident where there was a student, an 8th grade student, who was caught vaping, and she began to talk with him a bit about some of, the perils, some of the challenges in that. I think education, but I think helping students identify other coping skills, other coping strategies, things they can do if they feel bored, helping them begin to identify their feelings and being able to articulate what it is that they're feeling. A lot of the students that we encounter, and I don't think this is, specific to middle school students. I think, unfortunately, this is just specific to how, as a society, we've been socialized with social media and the advent of technology, but that's a different conversation. But I think people are so removed from themselves now, and when they feel they can't even begin to articulate some of the things that they feel and express them. So I would say education, working, and what we do at this particular district, and I know what the counselors here do when they encounter this, is they begin to educate the students about the dangers of engaging in using the CBDs, but they also begin to talk with them about different coping strategies. They also begin to talk with them about what's like really happening, what's going on, to help them identify and articulate. They then help them not only identify different coping strategies, but also identify safe people that they can go to. So I think, and I'm going to pause, and I'm gonna, if it's all right, Ms. Seward and Ms. Brown and Dr. Bicos, open it up to the counselors on my team to, to add anything that I've missed. But I think education and that coping strategy and support is key.
And also Ms. Gok, who's at the.
Ms. Gok, I'm sorry. And Mr. Garvey.
Ms. Gok?
With that, if there is nothing additional to add to Ms. Whaley, I'm curious to know if there are referrals outside of the district once you've begun working with students. What is that looking like for our district?
Ms. Gok would be able to answer that.
Yeah, so typically what happens is if we do have instances where we find a vape, or we see that a student is in possession of something they're not supposed to, or we've had a bunch of incidents kind of pop up. We have seen a huge uptick this year. I know in the previous years it has been an issue, but it seems like this year it has been a lot more than I've ever seen it, especially with the edibles and the vape pens. And so what we do is we actually go through Holcomb, which we do have a partnership with. Miss Lucy is our person. And so what happens is if students are caught with any of these things, of course, we do go through the disciplinary process. However, we do a mandatory SAP meeting with Miss Lucy, who then meets with the parents. They meet with the student, and she basically recommends that they go through some kind of program. Most of the times I've seen it to be like a drug and alcohol prevention program. It could be a support group. It could be even therapy, because we do try to get to the root of the problem. And just in my interactions with students, I am happy to share that a lot of students do come to me or my co-counsel or the counselor I work with and share with us where they are getting these items. I've actually have even went as far as reaching out to our principal and the local police and just letting them know that some of our shops, unfortunately, and even gas stations in the community, I'm seeing that it's just becoming easier and easier for students to be able to get these things. And so I have begun reporting that out and just kind of identifying like where are kids getting their hands on some of these items.
Thank you, Ms.
And-
Gok. And the student assistance program that she's speaking of is our SAP program. Our partner in SAP is Holcomb, Miss Lucy. And actually, we were fortunate enough through a grant through the Pennsylvania Department of Education to actually secure a second SAP coordinator this year.
So I was going to say thank you to Miss Welly and Miss Gok. And I was just going to say to Dr. B. Coates, Miss Seward, and Miss Brown, is there, back in the day, we used to do DARE, and I'm pretty sure everybody remembers DARE. And I just feel like, I don't know if this is possible, but I just feel like we need to meet the kids where they are. And I feel like having quarterly or two times a year assemblies to try to talk to everybody about the ingredients, what they're vaping, have people, for instance, some of these people in the community that run smoke shops, they know what's in them. Like maybe we can partner with them to get them to come out and speak. I just think that I don't know if it's above our head or if everyone's understanding what I'm saying. I just feel like it's really sad that we're seeing so many of our youth, vaping, which can cause also their growth to be stunted. All different type of psychological things can happen. But I agree with Ms. Gok. Like we're starting to see this more and more in our, younger kids. And I just want to feel like maybe William Penn School District can be the lead of being preventative in some way. That's all. And thank you for what you are doing. Thank you for what you are doing.
It's been noted, Ms. Boykins, and we also have access to some dollars from the budget that's just been approved by the governor for items in this arena. So that's definitely something that we will be looking into. And I do know that at the middle school, they are working with an entity to try to bring something like what you just mentioned. It's not finalized yet, but I do know that that's in progress.
Oh, last question. Do we still do mindfulness across the district? Is that something that we still participate in, is some ways of mindful, different?
Say mindfulness, we do have Second Step at the elementary and middle school, and we have School Connect at the high school level.
Okay.
I think that's what you're referencing.
Yeah, like teaching meditation practices and things of that nature, as Miss Willie was saying, other ways that you can cope, other coping mechanisms. Because usually, like, yoga, things of that nature. I know everybody's not for yoga. I'm just saying, are these things that we practice? That's all. Thank you.
So,
Additional questions?
Ms. Valerie, if I could speak to Ms. Boykins' point, for the Education Committee agenda for February, we will discuss SEL or social emotional learning and practices that we do here in the William Penn School District. So that has been noted, but we've already been working on that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Are there any other questions? We can proceed.
Now we'll move onward with EBS and Stepping Stones, and Kate Crossett will begin to share with us that partnership and where we are. Ms. Crossett?
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay? My connection is a little unstable, so I might just turn my video off to make sure that you can hear me better. But thank you, Ms. Brown, for allowing me to speak about our EBS and Stepping Stones partnership. So similar to our Lakeside partnership, we provide counseling and emotional support services through this partnership with EBS that we've had for several years now. And EBS came in to support our emotional support programs at Walnut Street Elementary School, at the middle school, at the 9th grade academy, and at the high school. And so we have licensed mental health providers or practitioners who are the counselors, or they might be licensed social workers who are able to provide those counseling services as well. There is mental health interventionists, including individuals who are trained in ABA or are registered behavior technicians who can provide those specific intervention services and accommodations to our students in the emotional support classrooms as far as their needs go. And then we have a partnership with the sister organization of EBS called Stepping Stones, and they have been able to provide us with behavioral support staff outside of specifically the emotional support programs through provision of personal care assistance for students who may need that level of support, registered behavior technicians outside of the emotional support classroom setting, as well as paraprofessionals. You can go to the next slide, Ms. Brown. And so there, I shared a similar slide during my visit with the Education Committee about a year ago, a little less than a year ago, maybe 9 months ago, regarding the landscape of our providers across the district. And there have been some transitions, and there have also been some providers who have been with us for several years now in this partnership. The one thing that I think I spoke to about 9 months ago that has definitely seen some improvement, but there's still some room for improvement to be desired, is around ensuring that those district-wide mental health provider roles are consistently filled and not transient. So you can see that the licensed mental health provider that says vacant as of 1/2/24, we did have that role filled actually between Thanksgiving and the start of the new year, but that person has since moved on. The good news that I have to share is that the vacancy noted under the district-wide MHI and mental health interventionist and the Cypress mental health interventionist actually recently have been filled as recently as this Monday. We had candidates start in those roles. So we're hopeful. It's looking like we are almost completely staffed now, and individuals are really getting in the groove of supporting our schools, particularly in that district-wide role. I met with the BSC and BCBA this past Friday to ensure that they are aware and that their schools are aware of who their current caseloads are. They've been supporting, especially with functional behavior assessments for students whom we've tried interventions for, but maybe behaviors are still persisting. And so they're able to apply, their behavior analyst skills to support in understanding the root cause of behavior. And then they're able to, give that insight to the school teams to help develop positive behavior support plans for our students. So we've really, that's definitely been an area that has shown more impact and fruitfulness this year. And then speaking specifically to them, the school-based roles for these teams, the Walnut team, the middle school team, the 9th grade team, and the high school team. The Walnut team, again, when I spoke to this landscape several months ago, it mentioned that the Walnut team has been consistent with their convening of collecting specific behavioral data on the students in their emotional support programs and accessing their emotional support interventions. And they have consistently met at regular intervals to review that data, analyze it, and respond to it. They meet with the EBS team. Nicole McCune and I actually were able to attend the December meeting that was held with the Walnut team. And we were able to debrief with that team and discuss some specific professional development that we're actually going to continue to pursue to support both the school-based staff and the EBS teams coming to a common understanding of how to support their students. As far as the middle school team, the 9th grade academy, and actually, Ms. Brown, you can go on to the next slide. You can see there the data meetings. The middle school, 9th grade academy, and high school actually are on track right now to have their data meetings held on January 22nd during part of the professional development day to establish then the cadence for the rest of the year. The district coordinating liaison who was on the prior slide, Teresa Francis, she was new to her role as of November, taking over for Megan Monahan, who I believe this group may have met previously, but she was our previous district coordinating liaison through EBS, and she is currently out on maternity leave. So while Teresa was transitioning on, she was tasked with ensuring that the secondary campuses will have these data meetings, established starting in January, and they will be meeting consistently each month as well. And during these data meetings, they specifically for Walnut, they have been reviewing the use by students of the Bears Den, which at Walnut is the positive behavior support reinforcement. It is a center where the students are able to access privileges and have sensory breaks. If they have earned time in the Bears Den, they are able to play video games occasionally. They're able to play board games. They are able to listen to music or to have alone time if that's something that they're seeking. They can also choose a preferred adult or peer to spend time with with one of the adults manning the center. One of our instructional assistants, Mr. Bishop, really has helped to drive the success of the Bears Den this year. And then there's also a de-escalation space that is supported by the EBS staff in each of our buildings. And the data is collected each time that a student that needs the use of the de-escalation space. And that data is collected, one, for the analysis of how that actually supports the student in building their coping skills, of course, but also it's collected and analyzed in those data meetings about how the program as a whole is utilizing that support and may need, to adjust or maintain the implementation of that support. The additional data that is analyzed is around the student referrals and when students are actually asked to take a break instead of initiating it for themselves in the de-escalation space. And then additionally, on the positive reinforcement side, student participation in goal parties or student redemption of rewards at the secondary level when they have their individualized rewards. So we're going to continue to support with that partnership, but I would definitely echo and say that it does seem that any counseling and emotional support and social emotional learning that we share with our students and our staff are absorbed and desired at a great level. So I would reiterate that from this perspective as well.
Thank you. Are there questions? One, Ms. Hall?
Thank you, Ms. Cook Henry. So is there any overlap between the three providers? Would Lakeside be, Lakeside doesn't primarily only focus on regular education students and EBS and stepping stones are special ed. Is there a synergy? Am I thinking about it wrong?
So there would not be overlap in the treatment of a student as far as a specific counselor, because we don't want to have mixed messages coming from multiple mental health providers. So you are kind of thinking about it backwards, Jennifer, and as far as, yes, they would not overlap in that way.
Right.
But Danielle and actually Janine and I met at the end of the school year last year and discussed where we've seen the success. And I think Janine mentioned it in the one of her slides about like at the 9th grade academy, there's overlap in support of group sessions, such as girls groups or anxiety groups, or that's where the overlap and the collaboration has happened between EBS and Lakeside to date.
Great.
But Janine, if you want to talk about that more, feel free.
Yeah, no, thank you. To Dr. Becode's point, I wonder if we could do this presentation or something like it for budget and special education, looking at the costs of all three, students impacted, and to everyone's point, heard you loud and clear, adding another set of counselors to each building. And so that wouldn't be necessarily education, it would be budget at that point, but I really appreciate this information.
Are there additional questions and or comments? I would like to thank everyone for your ongoing support of our students and serving them in this capacity. As we prepare for our next meeting, you heard the content would be SEL. Please note that it will not be the second Wednesday. It will actually be the third Wednesday that we meet, which would be February the 21st. Thank you all for your participation and have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.